Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health, and today we're back talking mobility. Now, those who watch my channel know that we flip-flop a lot between exercise videos and then videos where we're working on rolling, stretching, mobility. Why do I do that? Because all the exercise videos in the world and all the exercises in the world do you no good if you're injured. The number one problem that people face in regards to what affects their progress in the gym or affects their fitness is injury. If you're injured, you can't work out. What good is it to know all these exercises if you're injured? You need to work on your mobility, and we need to stay healthy. So we switch back and forth here. Like I said, last week we were going over back exercises. Today we're back on mobility. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about mobility of the upper back, lower neck. And we're talking about the upper thoracic spine. Big problem with a lot of people. It tends to get tight as we get older, into our 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. What happens, that area gets tight. It starts sending the head forward into a forward slant like that. Causes neck back pain, but it also affects mobility when we get stuck in that position. It affects our ability to go overhead with our shoulders on shoulder presses. So, this area gets tight. You're in the gym doing shoulder presses, and boom, before you know it, you get hurt. Why are you hurt? Because your mobility is bad in that area, and you're going to end up with an injury. So let's work on these things before they cause an injury. Now, this is a common area that gets tight, and it's difficult to work on. And what are we dealing with? Well, we have 7 cervical vertebrae, and then we have 12 thoracic vertebrae. The cervical vertebrae curve this way, and the thoracic vertebrae start going in the opposite direction. And it's that junction here between C7 and T1 that starts to get locked up. So we're dealing with like C7, T1, T2, that general area here. If you feel in the back, probably the largest bump you feel back there is C7, because it's known as the vertebral prominence. It is the most prominent spinous process that we have. So that bump that you feel back here is C7. So if you count from there, that's C7, go underneath, that's T1, and then T2. That's the area that starts losing mobility. It gets locked up in here. It starts causing that translation of the head. It gets compressed. It's bad on the tightness of the spine, but also it can start affecting the nerves, causing pain down the shoulders. It's just something that we don't want. And the best way to work on it is to catch it early. If you wait till you're all hunched over and bent over, we got a big problem on our hands. If we can get to it early, we can work on it. We can increase mobility. You can increase mobility in any part of the body at any time. You just have to work at it. So I'm going to share with you today a technique I've developed to get to this difficult area of the body. I'm going to go over that with you today. I hope this is going to help. So let's get right to it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share with you the technique I developed. The reason I spend a lot of time actually working on this area, it's a tight area for me. Being 54, it's an area that has regularly been tightening up over the last 10, 12 years. So I just stay ahead of it. I don't allow it to tighten up. I want to share with you the technique I developed. I use this on a regular basis along with other fascia release techniques, but this is a good one for the upper thoracic spine. All we're going to need is a few things. We're going to need 2 Tai Chi balls from OcraMed Health for this maneuver. Reason being is these balls are excellent for getting into the fascia, but also we're going to need 2, and the reason being is that we're going to be getting on the back of the spine. We have what's called the spinous process. That's those nubs you can feel back there. We don't want the Tai Chi ball hitting into the bone of the vertebra, the spinous process of the vertebra. So we're going to use 2 so that we leave a little bit of space in between them, and the spinous process will fit in between. So we're going to be on the soft tissue. We don't want the Tai Chi ball hitting directly into that spinous process. It would not be fun. So we're going to need 2 Tai Chi balls. We're going to need some type of block. This is a yoga block. It's nice and firm. A good-sized book would be perfect also, but something to raise the Tai Chi balls a little bit off the ground. I'm going to set the 2 Tai Chi balls on the block just like that, leaving about this much space in between the 2 Tai Chi balls, just enough to fit that spinous process of the vertebra in between. And then a couple blocks back here just for some head support. A pillow is fine, just something so that your head doesn't end up in a big extension, so a little support. And then the final thing we're going to need is just some exercise tubing, bands, something so we can use a little resistance, okay? So here we go. All right, so I have everything set up. I got my Tai Chi balls on my block. I got the pillow set up. I got my band. we're going to start at C7. Now, like I said earlier, C7 is the largest spinous process, so it's pretty easy to find. When you palpate back here, the largest bump that you find, that'll be C7. So we're going to turn, and we want to get C7, the spinous process of C7, between the two Tai Chi balls. So I'm going to position it so that each Tai Chi ball is on each side of that C7 spinous process. And I'm going to let that fall back like this. I'm going to have the pillow for my head. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab that band. Now, is this going to be fun? No, this isn't fun at all, actually. There's not a lot of tissue back here. It's a little uncomfortable. You have to gauge your pressure, but it works awesome. So if you can take a little discomfort, you're really going to benefit from this technique. So I'm going to lie back, and I'm going to grab the band from here so that when I'm going to extend my arms out, I'm actually got a lot of pressure on that band. Now, like I said, if you're new to doing this technique, use less resistance, or don't even use any resistance at first till you get used to this. But I've been doing this for a while, so I'm going to grab way down here, and I'm going to press up. Now, because I have my elbows are locked out, and I'm holding the band, this is really getting those Tai Chi balls deep into the fascia, and we're just mashing up that tight, adhesive fascial adhesions that have been binding up those vertebrae at C7, T1, T2, all that adhesion that's been locking and gluing up those vertebrae. We're going to break that all up and get rid of all that glue and get those vertebrae moving again. So I'm going to extend out, and I'm going to lock my elbows, and what I'm going to do from this position, I'm just going to lay here, and I'm going to breathe. I'm going to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth, and I'm just keeping my elbows locked out, but besides that, the rest of me is just all relaxed. And I'm going to hold this position for about 60 seconds and just let those Tai Chi balls do their thing. And after 60 seconds, I'm going to bring the bands all the way back. And now we're in this position. There's still a lot of tension on the band, except now they're behind me. And once again, 60 seconds, I'm going to just lie back here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I'm just going to let those balls, those Tai Chi balls, do their work. So we're 60 seconds in this position, and then finally I'm going to come up, and I'm going to do one last hold of 30 seconds. So 60 seconds, and one last hold of 30 seconds. Now, through this whole process, if your arms start getting tired, by all means, if you have to take a couple seconds, relax the arms, and then press back up, that's fine. But we're going to go through that process. And after we go 60, 60, 30, I'm going to come up, I'm going to grab those two Tai Chi balls, and I'm going to go down another inch or so. Now I'm going to be at about T1. So I just did C7. Now I'm deeper at T1. I'm farther down the spine. And we're going to go through that whole process again, pressing out, holding for 60, breathing, coming back here, holding for 60 as I take some deep breaths and relax, and then one final hold at 30 seconds. And then we're going to make one last maneuver down to T2. I usually just hit C7, T1, and T2. So I basically go through that routine 3 times. If you want to go down to T3, go one last level and do another series, that's fine. But I usually go C7, T1, T2. I just really try to do all I can to relax, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, let those Tai Chi balls get in there, break up all that adhesion that's, like I said, gluing those vertebrae together, causing that trouble, and just let the Tai Chi balls do their thing. Like I said, adjust your tension. At first, you may not want to use any resistance, but once you can, and you can use that resistance, you're really going to feel how this really nails all that fascial adhesion back here. It's a great way to get it. That's a difficult place to get to free up, a difficult area to work, to actually get it to free up, but this technique works awesome. Give it a try. All right, so there you go. Get working on it. Depending on how much tightness you have in that area, if you're someone who's really, really locked up in that upper thoracic spine, I would actually be working that a little bit every day. If not, just a little bit of mobility issues, you may want to get on it 3 times a week, but get working on it. Got to be consistent. This is not a 1 or 2 time fix. You got to stay on it week after week, month after month, till the mobility comes back, and then continue doing some maintenance work on it. But it's important. It's an important part of the body to keep mobile. All right. If you're looking for an exercise program that's going to build lean muscle without the bulk and keep you injury-free, then this is where you want to go, www.OcraMedHealth.com, where we'll put together a personalized program just for you, consisting of calisthenic and gymnastic movements along with heavy weight training. Also at our website, our mobility program, you pick the body part. I will send you a personalized video of how to stretch it, roll it, and increase the mobility. And also on my website, the accommodation avoidance system, my ebook of heavy weight training and how to perform it without hitting training plateaus. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I always get back to everyone who writes in. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.